Heading down to the watering hole with Kendall Schaefer on 94.3 The Ox on your Monday ride. It's 8:27 now. Time for Coffee Talk, brought to you by the Comanche Chamber of Commerce and Agriculture. Check them out at #Explore Comanche, Texas, as we welcome in Three Wheels Cynthia Newton with
No
Hope Counseling.
kidding. I'm serious. I mean, it's been that kind of a Monday.
I'm pulling up here. Got a flat tire.
I'm be on foot the rest of the day, I think. So, unless my secretary comes to bail me out. Kyle's gonna go out there and change it for me.
I will.
I think he will. So but since you've been skipping out on the last couple of weeks, let me bring you up to speed.
Okay.
Because I'm sure I've been so busy.
Uh-huh.
That we. Okay, so this month is Mental Health Month, National Mental Health Month. Okay, so last week I kind of started with, I did start with the basics of mental health this year, what the focus is on, which is back to the basics of mental health on the tail end of the pandemic, because we're really looking, there's just so much evolved over the last 2 years with the pandemic and mental health. So
Sure.
The National Mental Health Organization is wanting to go back to the basics of mental health and look at that, especially this month. So I'm taking this month and I'm going, just kind of doing different things throughout, just kind of reminders about basics about mental health. Okay, so today we're going to actually talk, I'm going to give you a little bit of background, and then we're going to actually talk about what a mental health condition is and where does it come from. Okay?
All right.
So, because some people are like, I don't know what you're talking about. So, so we're going to talk about that. All right. So many people are learning about mental health topics for the first time since the pandemic. Having a widespread understanding of the topic can help you be more informed if you or someone you know is experiencing a mental health condition or crisis. Around half of the people in the United States will meet the criteria for a diagnosable mental health condition at some point in their life. So everyone should know what to look out for. I'm going to stumble through this. I just can't win for losing today.
I have those days too.
All right. So a mental health condition or a mental illness refers to a set of symptoms that have been identified by the mental health community. Mental health conditions of mental disorders. Mental health conditions are described in the Diagnostic and Statistic Manual of Mental Disorders. That's also known as the DSM-5.
Oh, yeah.
The International Classification of Diseases, which is the ICD-11 now, or by people with live experiences. People with mental health conditions deal with changes in emotions, thinking, and or behavior. For some, this means extreme and unexpected changes in mood, like feeling much more sad or worried than usual. For others, it means not thinking clearly, pulling away from friends and activities you used to enjoy, or hearing voices that others do not. No matter what kind of mental health condition someone is facing, it's always possible to recover. One question that I've been asked, and this is kind of important, is poor mental health, the same thing as having a mental health condition?
Okay.
What do you think, Kyle?
I'm thinking it's going to be a case-by-case basis, probably.
Okay. Well, actually, it's a no.
Oh.
But we all have tough days, okay, and weeks, and struggling with our own mental health. Okay, that doesn't automatically mean you have a mental health condition. To be diagnosed, the changes in your thinking and emotions must be seriously hurting your ability to do the things you want to do and sticking around longer than they should, like weeks or months, depending on the condition. So let me give you some examples. Anxiety. For diagnosis of anxiety, it must last at least 6 months. For a diagnosis of depression, at least 2 weeks. Bipolar, at least 2 weeks of a depressive disorder and 1 week of a manic disorder or manic episode, or 4 days of a hypomanic episode. Okay, that's complicated. I know that sounds like a lot of lingo, but anyway. Schizophrenia, for the diagnosis, symptoms must last at least 6 months. PTSD, for symptoms must last at least 1 month. OCD, symptoms must last at least 2 weeks. So it's not like you just wake up one day and, I'm feeling really compulsive today, or, I'm feeling like I need to do all this stuff today, and that means you have OCD. No, it actually has to last longer. There's a longevity to it before it's truly considered a disorder or a mental health condition. Because we all have bad days.
Right.
So, you can have times of poor mental health without having a diagnosable condition, just like you can be physically unhealthy without having a particular illness. So, if you think about it from that aspect, and you look at the fact that, how many times do we just feel bad, but we don't have a diagnosis of what's going on?
Sure.
You know, we may try to diagnose ourselves, but doesn't
Not
mean
very
we're
healthy.
right. Yeah, it's not. I mean, there are people that are trained for that, just like there's people trained to diagnose mental health disorders. So don't try to diagnose yourself. Anyway, so there's often no one single cause for a mental health condition. Instead, there are many possible risk factors that can influence how likely a person is to experience a mental health condition or how serious the symptoms may be. So risk factors. This was what we're all waiting for, right? I'm just kidding. Risk factors don't just affect who will and won't develop a mental health condition. They also impact the seriousness of the symptoms and when these symptoms will show up. There are several risk factors, okay? So social determinants of health. Social determinants of health, otherwise known as SDOH, gotta love acronyms, are the conditions in which people live, learn, work, and play that impact their health and quality of stability, education access, and quality healthcare access, and quality healthcare access and quality, neighborhood and living environment, and social and community life. Okay. Those categories: financial stability, education access and quality, healthcare access and quality, neighborhood and living environment, and social and community life. One example of how SDOH affects mental health is poverty. So high poverty neighborhoods can cause stress, weaken health, social connections, and harm the overall mental health of the people who live there, even when controlling for individual poverty. Another aspect that can cause high stress is rural areas, because you have limited access. Okay, when you look at the access and the quality of the care, you don't have that high quality or that high availability in your rural areas. So that can actually cause increased stress or increased groundwork to affect mental health. Okay. Trauma. Any experience that was highly stressful, shocking, or dangerous to you can be traumatic. Trauma is different for everyone. What feels normal to someone else might be traumatic to you, and vice versa. A traumatic event can threaten your physical safety, such as being in a car accident or getting flat tire, or it can be more emotional, like the sudden death of a loved one. Traumatic experiences can be one-time events, like getting in a fight, or ongoing, like bullying or childhood neglect. Situations like loneliness, seeing
See you work through
seeing
that.
Richard, seeing an accident. Why didn't he fix my tire? Natural disasters, poverty, and racism can all cause a trauma response. Genetics. Your genes are passed down from your parents and ancestors. They act as the blueprint for how your body and brain develop and function. There's no one gene that decides if you'll have a mental health condition. Instead, many genes affect the way your brain develops, making you more or less likely to develop a mental health condition later. Biology and brain chemistry. Some brains are wired differently, have too high or too low levels of certain neurotransmitters, or are damaged after a head injury. Abnormalities in the prefrontal cortex, frontal cortex, and other parts of the brain can increase your chances of developing a mental health condition. Habits and lifestyle. It's important to take care of your body and mind. Things like not getting enough high quality sleep, regularly unhealthy food choices, lack of exercise, and poor stress management can all play a role in developing a mental health condition. For instance, the occasional night of tossing and turning won't hurt you long term, but chronic exhaustion can. Sleep problems like insomnia, consistently poor sleep quality, and frequent nightmares are related to mental health concerns and conditions, including a higher risk for suicidal thoughts and behaviors. And the final risk factor that we really look at is substance use. Using drugs or alcohol can trigger a mental health condition by affecting mood, sleep, relationship, and physical health. It can also lead to changes in some of the same brain areas involved in other mental health conditions like depression and schizophrenia. It's common for individuals already struggling with their mental health to turn to substances as a coping mechanism. The substance use can impact the effectiveness of medication and make it harder to recover. When someone has a mental health condition that overlaps with a substance use disorder, it is also referred to as a dual diagnosis or co-occurring disorders. So that's something just to keep in mind. Substance use is actually a really big, huge factor when you're dealing with mental illness and the long-term effects. And
Right.
They don't go together.
Yeah.
You know, if you have both at the same time, you're setting yourself up for a lot of heartache and a lot of pain. Interesting facts, guys. Children who experience trauma are approximately 1.3 times more likely to develop a mental health condition as adults than children who don't. Studies have found children of parents with generalized anxiety disorder to be 2 to 6 times as likely as other children to receive a generalized anxiety disorder diagnosis. The brain chemical dopamine, sometimes known as the feel-good neurotransmitter, is what allows you to feel pleasure and motivation. When the brain's dopamine system is not working as it is meant to, it has been linked to schizophrenia. Individuals who frequently drink alcohol are more likely to be depressed than those who moderate their use. Drinking in moderation is defined as 1 drink or less in a day for women and 2 drinks or less in a day for men. So that's moderation. Okay, so be aware. If you're drinking more than that, you're actually could be harming yourself or causing an increase in depression. So it's important to know that experiencing any of these factors doesn't mean that you'll definitely develop a mental health condition. You can take steps to reduce your risk factors or increase your protective factors, like building support relationships, taking care of your body, and practicing gratitude. Just like any health condition, knowing the risk factors can help you identify and address symptoms early on and plan a course of action for your overall health. Our society focuses much more on physical health than mental health, but both are equally important. So if you are concerned about your mental health, there are several options available. You're not alone. Help is out there and recovery is possible. It may be hard to talk about your concerns, but simply acknowledging to yourself that you're struggling is the first step, and It's a huge step. Ugh. All right, mental health, of course, is important to all of us. Taking care of yourself is critical to prevent your mental health from worsening. Factors like nutrition, gut health, stress, sleep, relationships, trauma, and more can contribute to poor mental health. So if your mental health is in a good spot, it is a great time to practice coping skills. Ways to help you deal with hard feelings so that you're better able to handle those times when they happen. Okay? So even if you're sitting here going, this doesn't apply to me because I've got great mental health, guess what? This is a perfect time for you to practice looking at your coping skills and everything else too. Guys, as always, we're here at Hope Counseling of Texas with 4 offices in Comanche, Hamilton, Dublin, and Eastland. Anything that we can do to help, if you're not sure, if you just want to come in and just talk and say, hey, I've got this going on, or hey, my kid's going through this, we've got school wrapping up, and a little more time and a lot more hair pulling out. Oh yeah. My kids got out of school Friday, and it's going to be a long summer. So
let the fun begin.
But guys, just know that we're here at Hope Counseling. Again, anything we can do, 325-356-1105, 325-356-0075. Comanche, Hamilton, Eastland, Dublin, almost all insurances are accepted. So
Cynthia with Hope Counseling. Thanks as
all
always.
right, I'll see y'all next week.
Let's go play Pit Crew.
All right, thanks.
Fastest Comanche has ever seen. Call to Telecom for all lightning fast fiber to home.
Limp it around to the back parking lot.
With Telecom, there are no data
It ain't gonna
caps,
hurt
no
that tire.
thresholds,
You know you're going to buy a tire, right?
I know that. Apparently my secretary has Bayer Motor Company coming.
Internet speeds
Oh, okay.
you wouldn't believe are possible. Call to Telecom.
Well, fine. I offered to help.
893-1000, where local staff will answer your call.
That's what secretaries do.
Oh, yeah, I know, man. It was just a matter of time.
Those must be like those run flats or something. Well, it's pretty toast, but it's sitting more up than like a normal one would. I was sitting there thinking, while you were talking, I was like, there's no telling what it's going to take to get to the... I don't have the excuse of having 3 kids like you do. Mine's the same way.
People give me stuff to take to donate to different places, and I have to wait till I get to those towns, and it's just, whatever. Sorts of things that people
I wish I would have thought quicker. I saw that red truck pull up and I knew it was him should have grabbed that phone and videoed him doing that. That wouldn't have been too good for your show. Look at this stuff. This is what goes on up there. Back in the day, when I was in Troy's office up there. Richard, he'd leave about 2 o'clock. And give or take, he'd bang on that window and he'd flip me off, right?
Yeah.
And I'd flip him off. One day, the preacher's coming in report on Friday, and there's been one in here, but he'd been gone for a long time.
Yeah, you have to take it out. I've done this a few times. About 3.
Anyway,
It's a weird way to have the.
Anyway, I'm back in there working, and I hear that on the window, and I throw that bird up there, and I'm looking at the East Side Baptist preacher. Walked by that window, and I thought, for a split second, I thought he didn't see that, and he backs back up, right?
Oh my gosh!
Oh,
The whole thing comes out. Yeah. We'll get one over.
Damn it, woman. You have more shit to say.
Stay.
Open the hole up, everything fell in it. Damn mag.
Live in Comanche, Texas. See, this is to get you back for the 30 days for the last 2 weeks. That's what it is.
Jury duty was the first one, but then last week Mom had a rough Mother's Day, and I was like, she has got to go to doctor.
That's work, so.
Yeah, you got to be a scientist to follow this type of
You just dropped something.
Is that still on? No. I don't know. Really not. I think that just holds it down. The guys at the dealership, I'm gonna put all this stuff.
I don't know.
together.
We had to find when they sold me this car, we had to find the spare tire, and they didn't know how to get to it. We had to get the book out.
They probably. And who knows? They might just come get the tire off of it and make it into another tire. That would make us look really stupid. I'm sure they put all that shit like that.
It's got a motor company. They take forever.
Come on in.
There's a piece missing.
The jack handle.
Oh no, it's right there.
By the cracker.